Dr. Sarah Larsen. I'm here with Greg Larsen and Greg Roach. Greg Larsen we call baby, Greg Roach. I'm so excited to share this lesson 17 with you guys. This one is, I see no neutral things. This idea is another step in the direction of identifying cause and effect as it really operates in the world. You see no neutral things because you have no neutral thoughts. It's always the thought that comes first, despite the temptation to believe that it is the other way around. This is not the way the world thinks, but you must learn that it is the way you think. If it were not so, perception would have no cause and would itself be the cause of reality. In view of its high variable nature, this is hardly likely. In applying today's ideas, say to yourself, with eyes open, I see no neutral things because I have no neutral thoughts. Then look about you, resting your glance on each thing you note long enough to say, I do not see a neutral flower because my thoughts about the flower are not neutral. So, Greg Roach, I'd love for you to share on this one.
Yeah, I think this is one of the ones that I, as I reviewed it, coming back to it a second, third time, I had to admit, yeah, maybe I don't really get this, And what that brought home to me is the fact that you have to apply this. That, it's not something, if you just go through it, and like read the lessons like you're reading a book, that it's not going to take hold, it's not going to take root. What this is seeking to do is to really subvert everything that we think that we know so that your perceptions can be transformed. And that, needs application. And so you have to have the discipline to be able to do this on a daily basis. And for me, this was one of the ones where that was really brought home. So
that's so lovely. And Greg Larsen, baby Larsen.
Yeah, again, these lessons, because I am completely snowed under with thoughts every day myself, even though I make time to meditate and I try to be as clear-minded as possible or mindful as possible. Boy, this, going over these lessons this week has just been like, wow, it's so powerful. Our thoughts and then the images that are created from that are so powerful. They just sweep me away to worlds that have no basis in reality, and they're just like, oh, darn it. And you know what? The kind of the example that came to mind is how powerful they can be. And I'll be walking down the street with my kids, and I'll see someone who I think looks suspicious based on something that I've watched or experienced in the past, and my fists will clench, and I'll get ready to protect myself and my kids because of my perception of what this person looks like. And it's just like, then as I pass by them, I'm like, wow, that is so powerful how my thoughts and the images that come up around that create such an intense experience within me. There was no reality in being threatened at all. There was no reality. And my mind went into this whole fantasy of like defending my kids and throwing punches and like screaming, pounding my chest, like, oh my God, chill out, dude. It was just someone walking down the street passing me, and I had this profound experience that had no basis in reality. It was all my thoughts and then these powerful images that were being created, and then a visceral response. And it's like, wow, there it is right there. I see no neutral things. I'm creating these intense realities all the time that are, they're not just neutral. They're either filled with some sort of anxiety or sadness or anger or, frustration, or they're creating love or peace. So you just have to be so mindful, because this is such a powerful trap we're living in all the time. Just be so mindful of that.
So I love this one too. Thank you for sharing that. And I've been with you when I've witnessed, and you're one of the most gentle people I know. I remember when we first started dating and we went out dancing, and this muscle man, you went to the restroom, and I was still on the dance floor, just bebopping, doing my thing. And this muscular, like tattooed, really big guy came over, and he was kind of like trying to be around me, really close, and pulling me close. And you walked up and you whispered something in his ear. And this was like maybe 3 months into our dating. And the guy turned and looked at me and did sort of, this half bow. He had leather, all this, and looked at you and just walked away. And I was like, oh my God, what did you say to him? Was my, I'm like, and you said, she's precious to me. And you just said that in such a way that he heard you. And this always comes up for me around the way that we express what we see on the outside. Your eyes were wide open. You see no neutral things because you have no neutral thoughts. And in that moment, what I recognized that you went into, which he could not get defensive about or get angry about, was you brought out in yourself and in him the witness. And the witness is something which points to the truth of something else. And that's how the Course defines it, something which points to the truth of something else, the effect of a cause, the existence of which points to the reality of the cause. So when we're all connected and when we're all feeling lovey-dovey, and you were obviously feeling lovey-dovey in this environment, dancing, going to the restroom, and you came back, you were and are the witness of your cause. You brought these higher words through you, establishing possibility in yourself, and you transmitted that with your words without, you didn't perceive what you were seeing in a negative way. You perceived it as an opportunity. And the witness there was doing the work. And it also gets me to think, because when you said television, when you started creating the scenario in your head of, throwing punches and keeping your kids close, I thought of what we see on television all the time. And this TV tube is a tube with heaps of electrons hitting the screen in a certain way, creating the illusion of form and motion. And we kind of referred to that with computers as well with Greg Roach a little bit ago, where you have the perception of us all being there. We have these 5 physical senses, and these senses, your senses perceive the sea of energy from a certain limited standpoint and makes up an image, and that image is not complete and it's not accurate, is what this lesson is really pointing to. And it's just an interpretation, and all of our interpretations are solely based on the internal map of reality that we have and not the real truth. And so I love this lesson for all of those thoughts that get released, or those TV channels that play in my head, those realities that used to attack me, now have sort of a conversation with the witness that points to possibility and truly seeing. And so this is a really powerful lesson. And Greg Larsen, any closing words on this one?
I already said it, just be super mindful. That's the whole experience. That's what the Course is asking you to do. It's like, that's why it's hitting home, this whole experience of, we create all the meaning, as we shared in earlier lessons, and we're, everything we see, nothing's neutral. We're all creating the meaning from that. So we just have to be so mindful that this is the process we're in. And so that's why the Course is doing such a wonderful job of hitting home with that, even though some of these statements might be like, how can that be? I see no neutral things. I don't believe that. And there you go. There's no neutrality there. You're already judging it very powerfully. So just be super mindful of this process that it's opening you up to, of seeing the world in a different way, because there's a deep truth to what it's sharing here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Greg Roach, any closing words?
Yeah, I think Greg's absolutely right. This is returning to one of the points from an earlier lesson. I remember we characterized this as, perception is an inside job, or reality is an inside job. But now what this is pointing out to us is that it's not just that our thoughts are existing in isolation. We actually are projecting them, so to speak, out into the world, And so if I see something as trivial as a glass or a Post-it note, I want to delude myself into thinking, oh, well, that's a neutral thing. But the fact of the matter is that I'm, just like bombarding the world around me with my thoughts, so to speak. And yeah, so it comes back to this idea that it is an inside job, and we have to be very diligent about that awareness.
Thank you both for joining us, and thank you all for being with us for lesson 17, which is I see no neutral things, and we will see you in the next lesson. Thank you so much.